gentlemen, welcome to VGU Gaming Live on YouTube and on VideoGamesUncovered.com. I'm Dom, the expert of Coles here with games designer from Dying Light. Please let the world know who you are.
Hello guys, my name is Maciej Binkowski. I'm lead game designer of Dying Light.
Fantastic, we've got plenty of questions for you.
Go ahead.
And first off, I've just got a fanboy. I love Dying Light.
Thank you so much.
Because I've had a really big worry with zombie survival games for the longest time. To me personally, they ironically felt like they were dying. But then Dying Light came along, I was very much interested. As soon as I got my hands on it for the first time last year, it just felt so good, and with all the tiny little elements in it, it just made it great.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. Enough fanboying. Put that to one side. I've got some questions, so let's go nuts. Okay, first things first, I've got to ask, what makes Dying Light different to any other zombie survival title that's out there?
Right, so that's a very good question. But it's actually pretty simple to answer. So number one is definitely unprecedented freedom of movement. You know, you can traverse through the world completely free. Anything that has enough room for your hands to grab on, you can just get on top of it. So all maps are open vertically. You go wherever you want, however you want. But you know, it's not just for the sake of it, because the way we design the environment and the way enemies behave, they really push you towards it. It's not just a gimmick. It's actually a tool to survive.
Yeah.
Then on top of it, we have dynamic day and night cycle, and again, it's not just visuals. We actually change gameplay from day to night. So you know, let's say you're a master of situation during the day, you still gotta be careful. But when the night falls, you really become the prey. So even getting from point A to point B becomes a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And then if you combine it with, you know, this really vast open world, that makes Dying Light something completely unique. You're not going to be able to find this kind of experience anywhere else.
Very true, very true. That was one thing about Dying Light actually I was very much interested in, the day and night cycle. A very interesting mechanic, because it is a mechanic. It's not just a simple day and night cycle like many other games have. In the day, it's very much like business as usual. There are zombies around the place, or they're called viral in bits, aren't they?
No, some of them, yes. There's more
variations. I like it. During the daylight, you got those scattered around whilst you're exploring and stuff, and you feel like a badass in the daylight. But as soon as nighttime falls, everything changes. There's way more zombies, they're way more aggressive, mutated versions that you haven't seen during the day that only come out at night.
Yes.
Friggin' crazy. And so, like, how hard was it to balance it out so that, of course, trying to make the game challenging for both daylight and nighttime?
Well, wow, where do I even begin? You know, we wanted to have day and night cycle, dynamic one that, you know, that allows the time to just flow back with Dead Island. But you know, there's just only so much that it can put into one game. Like, you only have so much production time. So when we started Dying Light, we knew, like, yeah, we want to have it. We want to have that thing, and we knew this time it's going to happen. But you know, we only had the visuals, so it was like, well, it's kind of nice, but you know, you really felt that there's something missing.
Yeah.
So we would sit down and discuss, you know, brainstorm ideas. Okay, so what happens at night? Like, how could we change gameplay? And after many brainstorms, we would come up with an idea. What if we keep you being a badass during the day, but then we don't really take anything away from you,
just keep adding on to it.
But we shift the table completely, and you become the prey, and that kind of got us hooked up. Like, everybody was like, hey, that actually sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So you know, we came with this idea to, you know, let all hell go loose. And right now we can see, and it wasn't like we just came out with the idea, implemented it, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's not the story. You know, we had maybe over a dozen different prototypes of how the nighttime mechanics should work before we arrived at where we are now. But in the end, I think it's absolutely worth it because we see people play test the game, and we can see them. And I kid you not, we see people sweating when they play during the day.
That's good though.
Actually,
that's really good.
At some point, we actually had to tune that down a little bit because you know what was happening. Like people would come and they would play through the day, and then they would have absolutely hectic times during the night. Then they would play through another day, and when the sun started coming down, they're like, no. Is there a place I can like hide? I'm like, I don't want to go. Like, so that was good at some point because it was like, yeah, it's working. Like we want you to feel that way, but at the same time, it's a bit too far. It's a bit
like
too
you
much.
still want players to go out.
Yeah, exactly. We still want you to. We still want it to be very challenging, but at the same time, we still want you to go out. So we tune it down just a little bit, just to make it intensive enough. And at the same time, we brought rewards for you coming out at night. So certain quests require you to go out at night. Certain areas are available only at night. Certain crafting materials you can get them only at night. And then we really want you a reward for taking an extra risk. So you develop your character by doing. So you want to get better at agility, you got to do it. You have to jump from and so on with the combat. So if you do all those things at night, the experience gain is bigger. So you take extra risk, you level up faster, you become stronger faster, you get access to abilities faster.
Very good, very good. Because I know there were a bunch of people that I know who are also fans of Dying Light, but they were concerned, thinking if nighttime's going to be too hard, it's going to put me off doing certain things during the daytime. But that's great, because now you're just balancing it out where daylight and nighttime work in synergy with one another.
Yeah.
If you do go out in the nighttime, it's going to kick you in the butt, but you're going to feel so good after doing it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we also give you a tool in form of shelters or safe houses, whatever you name them. So there's a number of them spread across the city. It's your job to find them and secure them, but if you do, you actually have additional safe spots that you can use when you're being chased during the night. So there's stuff that you can do during the day to help you out during the night. And then let's say if you really are in trouble, or you just had enough, or perhaps the night came and you're not prepared for whatever's coming, you might use shelters to just sleep through the night.
That's really cool.
And that's another cool thing about shelters, is that we actually use them for respawns. So if you die, we respawn you into the closest one.
That's cool.
So it's really, even if you just play through a quest, it's really awesome not to just go from point A to point B, but actually, scan the environment, see what's out there, perhaps there's a shelter, because if you go all the way through the map and you die,
then you go all the way back.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a big kick in the butt. So it's worthwhile, to see your surrounding and secure the stuff that might help you in future.
That's really good. That just feels so much more natural. It fits perfectly. I love it. So the actual designs of the zombies themselves, because there were a ton. Obviously, there were some that only pop out during the night. In the demo that I played, there was one that was in like a radiation suit with the gas thing on his back. And I found it really interesting how then sound played a vital part. Because I was just fighting him like any normal guy. I ended up turning him around, smacked him once into the gas can,
and then he started spinning in the air.
And like the hilarious ragdoll effect occurred. I was like, that's funny. Then a big explosion went off, and I just thought, oh, that was great. And then behind me, I just hear a huge horde of zombies suddenly going,
oh yeah, they're attracted to noise, so yeah.
And I was, as soon as that happened, because in the first time I played the demo last year, there was nothing like that. And it was just very much, here's the world, bunch of zombies, just go nuts. I still enjoyed it, but that just felt like there was something like that missing. But in that demo, it just started off as just him. As soon as I took him out, as soon as the sound went off, hordes out of nowhere just populated the streets, and I had to run up buildings, and it was fantastic. So
that's absolutely, we want you to feel that way, because we don't want the parkour, the free running, this freedom that we give you to be just for the sake of it. Just like you said, they're attracted to noise, so you do something and and they're gonna come looking for
Oh
you.
yeah, they're gonna want to eat your brains.
And then they push you really hard to use that skills that you have, to use that freedom. So it's not just a gimmick. It's you want to survive, you got to do it.
Oh yeah.
And then you have to be aware of your environment. Like you fall, like you said, that was a really cool guy, and you had a laugh. But suddenly you're like, holy shit! I'm actually bringing trouble.
Yeah.
And then, for example, you're falling from, you're jumping from something. You land on a roof, and that roof collapses. Again, that makes a lot of noise, and it kind of like ruins you because you just wanted to be in that spot, and suddenly you're like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here.
That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, of course, one of the biggest concerns that I had about Dying Light when I first saw it was, in my personal opinion, its biggest competition is kind of Dead Island. And when I played the very first Dead Island, loved it to pieces.
Thank you.
But
really appreciate it.
The thing that I couldn't quite get with Dead Island 1, because of course it's gone quite far. I played Dead Island 2 here today, completely different, and I like how it is now. But back in the Dead Island 1 days, it was very much a matter of, the game itself didn't know whether it wanted to take itself seriously or wanted to be a satire on the zombie survival adventure. Now it kind of feels like we have the two choices. You can pick Dying Light for your more dark, gritty, in-your-face adventure where you have to be more in control of what's happening around you, and as you said, with the exploration, the safe houses and everything. While with Dead Island 2, it feels very much like Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox One does, where it's very more colourful, it's very vibrant, but it still keeps the fun factor. It's very fast-paced. So, what were the with Dying Light as it is now? Okay. What would have to be some of the biggest differences between Dying Light as it is now and Dead Island?
Right. Well, we liked what we did with Dead Island, and people loved it. We really liked this clash of paradise, great-looking island with gore and zombie and brutality. But that was, we used that idea already. It's time to move on to something new. And then, Dead Island was more of a hack and slash kind of game, like kill everything you see in your way. And as much as we want to keep the combat, because we're really huge fans of melee combat, and making it as visceral as possible, so you feel every single hit, you can feel the meat getting ripped out of the bones.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of when I say it, there's like a voice in my head saying, like, dude, that's insane, but it just feels good.
It feels really good, yeah.
So at the same time, but we want to be more of an action survival kind of game this time around. So the combat is there, but many times it's just an option. Many times it's not the best choice that you can make. Sometimes it's not an option at all. Like it's impossible to there's so many of them that
well, you're just going to have to one for your life.
Exactly. And having that kind of setting, we thought, in order to be able to support that, we gotta go darker tone.
Yeah.
We have to go more mature, because otherwise it's not gonna feel like a complete thing. So this time around we're much more, I don't know if serious is the right word, but much more dark. Much more survival-like.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense because where Dead Island 1, even though I completely loved it, was very much a not sure where I think this is going kind of game. Now when we have Dead Island 2 and Dying Light, they feel completely different, look completely different, and that's great. Because now you are catering to, if you want,
take your pick, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you want the darker, grittier, and the more, oh no, I'm being chased by guys, I need to run for my life experience, that's Dying Light. If you want the hack and slash score points for killing zombies in the most stylish way possible, get Dead Island. And heck, I'm probably going to get both because I love both of them. They are both super good. So, of course, I played the game last year. It was great how it was last year, and it's been improved upon because it feels a heck of a lot better this year. How far has it come from the initial idea to now? Like, how many boundaries have you had to go over in order to get Dying Light, to where it is today?
Oh, you have no idea. It's up to the point when we look at the game from like a year ago, we look at it and it's like, it's shit. Having that extra time, this extra year, we were able to polish so many things. Just like you said, it feels that it's just better.
It just feels fantastic now.
People said that, it felt really awesome a year ago, but now it feels even better.
Yeah.
That's because we have time to play it ourselves. That's the only way to improve your game. You have to sit down and play it. I know it kind of sounds funny when you say you have to play your game and it's your job. But that's how it works. We sit down, we play the game, and we see, well, it's kind of good, but I would like to do this, and this kind of would be great if it could feel a little bit more smooth, and so on and so on. So many times there are a lot of little things, but if you combine them together, they create just better experience overall.
Yeah, of course. And the entire
just like with the day and night cycle, I told you we had like over a dozen different prototypes that we went through, and the same thing went for all the systems, right? Player progression, skills, everything.
Yeah, and that's the point actually. RPG elements, you guys have them.
Yep.
I love RPG elements in my video games. I think if every game could have an RPG element somewhere, I'd go for it. It'd be weird to see it in Call of Duty, but go on, do it. It'd be cool. So, what RPG elements can we expect from Dying Light?
I think the thing that I like most, and I think it's the feature that you should focus on, is the player progression. So, what we see, and that's a no-brainer really, but that's just something to notice. When you spend time with a game, you become better at what you do. Whatever that game is, whatever you're doing actually, you just become better if you keep doing it. Yeah. So this is what we thought would be awesome to portray as an experience. So we have two major proficiencies that we call power and agility, and you actually get better at them by doing stuff. So you want to get better at agility, that means running, climbing, jumping off roof, like making big leaps and so on. You want to get better at power, that means a lot of fighting and doing stuff like this. And when you do that, you accumulate points and then you level up. And when you do, your characters become stronger, faster, but the most important part is you get access to special abilities. And we really think about them, we don't want them to be just parameters boosters, we want them to be game changers. So
like completely game changing.
Yeah, like each thing is a new toy. It opens up new options of how to handle in-game situations. So for example, you could have a skill that if that's a zombie and he's coming for you, it's like and so you can unlock an ability that allows you to jump right off him.
Oh, that's great.
And then
use them as a stepping stone.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like reach something, get up to safety. So for example, ending up in a dead end, suddenly it's like, it's not really a dead end because I can just run right through it.
On zombie. Yeah,
exactly.
Fantastic.
On the other hand, if you choose something else, well, you'll have to deal with that differently. Then you might have, let's say, ability that allows you to dive under obstacles. Again, having that allows you to get out of trouble in certain situations, while having something else, whatever that is, like run on a wall, then, you have to do that differently. Or maybe you're more of a combat guy, and then you just focus on getting your combat abilities, and you're like, I don't care how many of them come at me. I have weapons, I have skills.
I am the king.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kill you all, right? It's all, we don't want you. We don't really want you to push you.
Yeah.
We think, we really trust that into players' intelligence and creativity. So we just want, here's the big sandbox. Here are the toys.
Go nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Like have fun, enjoy it. I really can't wait how far people can take it. So we developed a player progression system that actually supports the way you play and allows you to customize your character to the way you want to play it, because it's your game, right? It's your experience. Have fun with it.
That is absolutely great. And speaking of customization with your own character. Like you're not actually, am I right in saying that you're not actually given the role of a certain character in the story? Like you are effectively a character in this. So am I right in saying there may be some form of character creation in there where?
No. Okay, I can't give you too many details on the story because we'll be covering that later this year. So we'll bring some details on the story and the characters. Okay, what can I give you without spoiling too much?
It's the hard part.
All right. Well, you play. You play as this guy named Kyle Crane. So you play as very specific guy.
Okay.
But the way you develop his character, he's more of a combat guy or agility or a mix of all that.
So you're basically just given the name. The character himself is completely up to you and your one playstyle.
Well, as far as playstyles go, yes. Yeah, he got a name and he has a certain mission to fulfill, right? He's going to be, like a kind of trigger or catalyst to the events happening in the quarantine city. But I can't go more because I would have to spoil the story. But yeah, but in terms of playstyle, that's totally up to you.
That's absolutely brilliant. The parkour itself, fantastic mechanic to have in. It works super well because I've been begging for so long. Because for the longest time in zombie survival games, we've been able to crawl, been able to like slide into certain areas, or being able to jump over zombies or jump over ledges. We've never been able to properly climb up things or climb down things, properly get nitty and gritty and explore the place like you've never explored it before. And with parkour in Dying Light, it's added that new element to it. It's added that new type of exploration of the environment. So I've got to ask, how deep does the parkour rabbit hole truly go?
Alright, so you start with... Okay, so let me rephrase that. Let me give you a little background of how we came up to actually come with it. So that's something that was kind of something that grew naturally from just playing Dead Island and having this open world sandbox thing, but especially with zombies, when they're coming at you, like your first reaction many times is like just get on top of something, like get into safety. The first thing you look around, just get on top of something, get away. And you can't do it. Like you play a lot of FPS games and there's like a knee-high wall and your grandma could go over it.
Of course. And it's just like
and you're like no. So
I can't jump over.
Yeah. So when we decided to make another game, we would sit down and discuss how can we take the whole sandbox experience to the next level. And one of the most recurring things was freedom of movement. Like let's just be able to if I can do it in my real life, why I can't do it there?
Of course.
And then let's go even further. Like I want to be badass at free running and parkour. So you start with, and you can see it in the game that when you start, you can do like basic moves like running, jumping, and climbing. But even when you climb, it's still. That's another thing we wanted to do. Sorry, I'm jumping. But
that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
That's another thing. When we a lot of time when we play FPS games, it kind of feels like I'm just a camera on a balloon.
Yeah.
And what we wanted to achieve is that we want you to feel that you have a body, to make that experience visceral.
But you're more of a character, not just a...
Yeah, exactly. You have a body, and that body has weight, and that weight has momentum.
Yeah. So does that mean then there'll be parts of the game where, like, for example, you'll be running away from a situation that you can't deal with, or you're trying to make a pretty big jump. You go for that jump, you go for that leap, you go to grab, but your hands get it, but then all of a sudden one of your hands lets go and it's like,
yeah, you can see that.
And then you can feel the weight of the character.
Yeah, exactly. You can see, especially at the beginning of the game where your character is still kind of, I don't know if the clumsy is the best word, but yeah, kind of. Like you can really feel that there's a big effort every time he climbs, and he's kind of slow. Yeah. And as you get better, you can see that you can do stuff that you're faster, more agile. You're making bigger jumps. You use zombies themselves. You use walls. You name it. So there's a ton of stuff to from the very very humble beginnings of just being able to climb anything and doing it in a sloppy way into becoming this real badass of using the whole environment and the enemies themselves to traverse through the world completely free.
fantastic. I'm really going to enjoy exploring a world like this, because I'm the kind of person that just likes, okay, I'm out in this world, I'm going to climb the tallest building, see what's around me, then go from building to building.
That's a very interesting thing that you said. You know, we have that fantasy as well. You know, because many times when you play a game, it's really astonishing what you see, but at the same time,
you can never really.
Yeah, it kind of feels like being on the movie set. You know, that's just the facade.
Yeah.
And you have this fantasy of seeing what's on the other side of that building, or how the view looks like from the top.
Yeah, of course.
And with this free running mechanic, we allow you to do that, because that's something we wanted to do.
Of course.
So it feels absolutely great, and to the point where this is actually funny, but because I spent hundreds of hours on that game, so there's really not much that can still surprise me with it. But at the same time, even when I test something and I'm supposed to test something very specific, I catch myself being lost in the game, because as I was going to that point, I kind of like, I'm just gonna look here and do that, and suddenly I'm like, holy shit, I'm like, how did I even get here? I'm like, okay, dude, stop playing the game. Stop playing the game. Focus on what you were supposed to test. Do it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. The other thing that's coming into Dying Light as well, it was in Dead Island, it's being come across and it's being changed around a bit, crafting weapons. So, of course, being able to craft things, I think in the demo that I played, you had an electrified axe, you had a flaming knife, and you just had like a normal gun with you, and you had a really spiked up baseball bat, the classic thing, which was fantastic.
Simple but effective.
Exactly, my classic weapon, which I absolutely love and adore.
I don't know if you noticed, but you can actually rip pieces of meat with that thing.
I didn't. I did see that a few times. I did see that.
They actually kind of normal, and then when you start hitting them with that spiked bat, you actually rip pieces of meat out of them.
I need to go back and see that. That's probably going to happen after this. I'm going to run over there. I'm going to get my hands on it again. Just go. Oh my god! There's so much meat.
Oh yeah,
it's beautiful. So with the crafting system, with the weapons, are we going to be seeing the usual stuff? Just like this is now, like as we saw, electrified axes and flaming knives. Or are we going to see brand new variations and brand new moddable weapons that we haven't seen in games before, that's completely unique to Dying Light?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll see something unique. And I can't get too many details. Again, that's another topic that we'll be covering later this year. What I can tell you about crafting is that the basic mechanic for that, it's pretty much the same as with our previous game. So you find recipes, and then you find crafting materials, you put them together. But this time around, two big differences. First one is we wanted to streamline the whole thing, because with that really awesome freedom of movement, suddenly we found that going back to a workbench doesn't really, it stops your flow, and it's like,
because then it feels as if I have all this stuff, I want to make it, but I have to get back to a safe house to do it.
You have to leave whatever you were doing. So we streamline it so that the moment you find enough materials, you can just craft it.
Yeah.
And second thing is, crafting works, it has a bigger role this time around, because it's an action survival game.
Of course.
So you won't have enough stuff to build everything.
Yeah.
So you might end up in situations where you're going to ask yourself, do I craft a med kit, or do I craft a Molotov cocktail? Because I have enough alcohol to do one of them. And so on and so on, right? You might have, do I craft like this spiked baseball bat, or I use the metal parts to actually fix the weapon that I already have? Because, that kind of choice.
You've got to find the balance between making new things to make yourself powerful, or keeping the things that are already powerful that you love. You've kind of grown an attachment to, because you've either killed so many things with it, or it's just, you need it to help yourself.
Exactly.
The story. Of course, we can't go too deep on the story itself, which is completely understandable, but cooperative play. we love playing with our friends.
Oh yeah, it's like beer, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, like you drink it yourself and it's awesome, but drink it with friends.
And it's a party for everyone.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So of course, there's cooperative in Dying Light. It's going to be super fun. I'm sure it's going to be. I can just imagine me and my mates just going, hey, you want to race from this side of the city to this side of the city? And then just things happening in between.
And we actually support that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Because because just like you said, like this is what people do when they play together. Hey, I can get there before you, or I can do stuff better than you. Hey, yeah, you want to race there? So we were just playing the game, and we did that. And at some point, somebody said like, why don't we just put it in the game? Like we do it anyway, right? So even though you play in co-op, every once in a while the game's gonna go, whoever gets to the sewer exit first wins.
Oh, cool.
And it's incredible to see how people, they play co-op and they kind of look for each other, like, watch each other's back and helping each other. Suddenly the challenge shows up and they're like, screw you, man, I'm going for it. So we support that. And when you win such a challenge, you get an experience boost, you get to level up faster, get those abilities faster. So it's little things, but they spice things up.
That's great. That's really great, because of course that was going to be a concern where I was hoping that the cooperative was not just going to be just bring a couple of friends along for the main story and do a few missions while you're at it and that's it. Because of that, it's now making it more dynamic. As you said, you could be walking, you could be climbing and parkouring towards a mission, but as you're going there, all of a sudden will come up saying, hey guys, you kill so many zombies and see who can kill the most in so much time.
Exactly.
That would be fantastic.
Oh, or I don't know, there's an airdrop incoming, and whoever gets to it first gets some reward.
You'll get all the rewards from it if you get to it first.
And then on top of that, I don't know if you're aware, but we also have PvP mode.
Yes, I was actually going to bring that up. And so you have the cooperative play, which sounds even better than I originally thought. The competitive. I'm guessing it's humans versus zombies.
It's actually humans versus a zombie, actually I should say the zombie.
Ooh.
So it's asymmetrical.
Oh, that's even more interesting. So how does that play out?
So from humans' perspective, you just play your game, like your friends or alone, you just do your stuff, questing, whatever.
So I'm guessing it's going to be similar to the single player where you've still got an open world, you can still...
Yeah, it's totally seamless. You just do your stuff. And every time the night falls, your game is open for invasion. And that means...
Now it's sounding like Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls.
Yeah, kind of. So people who decide to play as a zombie, they jump into your game, they mess you up, and you have to deal with that threat.
Oh,
so
cool.
the way the match works is, as a night hunter, you have one goal on it. So hunt down the survivors and kill them. The survivor have like a spawn pool. Like I think right now it's like 6 respawns for the whole group. If he can, it's for the whole group. So if he picks you 6 times, whichever one of you, you're dead.
If you just pick on the same person 6 times, then it's done. No more respawns.
Yep, exactly. And then the match is over. On the other side, the Night Hunter can respawn unlimited number of times. So it's not about killing him.
So it's a matter of the humans have to survive until daylight.
Well, almost. Actually, we spawn special hives across the city. There are 3 hives that you need to find and destroy them. When you do, the match ends. And no matter whoever wins, the zombie player gets disconnected, sun comes up, and you just do,
and it just goes back to normal.
Yeah, exactly. You just continue your story as well.
That's fantastic. That it sounds a million times better than anything else I had seen. Because everything's, like, this is why I'm so hyped for Dying Light. Everything's just seamlessly integrated with one another.
Yeah, and now here's also another cool thing, because I forgot to mention it. It's not like if you choose to play as a zombie, it's not that you just attack random people. We track over all of your friends. So imagine that. You just come back home, you see who plays the Dying Light, and you see how strong the legacy is. You play Dying Light and you see like, oh, so these guys are online and they're apparently during the night, so I'm gonna kill you, and then I'm gonna kill you, and then
I go after you, I then after.
And then they kind of hate you, but it's totally worth it. Totally worth it.
But that's when you get into party chat afterwards and with them and just go, you enjoyed that, didn't you? It's so good, really, really good.
And here's the key. We designed this mode from the ground up to be a DLC.
Wow, fantastic.
But it was so awesome that we decided that we want everybody to be able to enjoy the invasion.
Of course.
So,
because that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. Like, a player's randomly walking around and all of a sudden his world gets invaded by a Night Hunter. And then, then it's kind of like, oh no, I didn't want this to happen.
Well, let me get to that. So the thing I wanted to say, so that everybody who gets the game gets to get invaded. But if you decide to pre-order the game, you get to play as the Night Hunter himself, get into people's games and mess them up. And talking about this, you said maybe perhaps somebody might not want to take part of it. Like, again, we really not want to push people to do stuff. So it's going to be on by default because we just see people having a lot of fun.
Of course,
with it.
Because you want players to experience it first before making the decision.
Yeah, but then if you don't really like it or you just don't feel like being threatened,
like one day you may feel like it, but another day you may just feel like
you can you can decide that you only allow your friends to do it, or you can turn it off completely.
That's nice. That's a really nice option, because I know there are some people out there that don't like, not necessarily don't like being invaded all the time, but like they want to.
They just don't feel like
they want to spend specific days allowing it to happen. So like if they know they're partying up with their friends, they can he can turn it on so that their friends at any point in time can be invaded by a random dude or their own friend. Who knows? That's a fantastic thing. But one thing I really like about Dying Light, and this is in contrast to Dead Island, which is why I really like it and now how it looks. The art style. The art style, because it's darker, because it's grittier and it's more grainy, it suits the world a heck of a lot more. So with the visual style, were there any challenges when it came to doing the visual style itself?
Yeah, we always go gameplay first. We believe gameplay is king, and that's absolutely what we need to be top notch. So it was all about finding the right references of how to make this thing play really well, but also look awesome. So we did extensive research on real life locations, and we kind of ended up with one of the things that inspired us was Istanbul, Turkey. It's a very interesting place because it's kind of at the brink of East and West. It's a very modern country, and Istanbul is a very modern city. But at the same time, there's a lot of Asian history, and it's already kind of Eastern in its sense. So first of all, it felt kind of nice that it's a fresh new setting, and at the same time, the architecture type really supported our free-running gameplay.
That's fantastic.
And getting, just the right tone, making the night just dark enough, not too dark, and not light enough. There was a lot of back and forth with pretty much everything. That thinking about zombies to make them look a little bit unique, and making it feel the combat visceral. So all the affixes of blood and guts, and that was a lot of work.
Right, just got the last few questions. First off, this is a bit of a fanboy question.
Oh, go ahead.
Because of course, I love zombies. If there's anyone from the VGU team that knows, I'm a massive zombie guy. And there's been a dream of mine when it comes to a zombie game. Because the one thing I really loved about Dying Light was that you're able to drop kick zombies.
Yeah.
Like I can jump, kick a zombie in the face, they fly backwards into like a spike on a wall.
Thank you.
They're just impaled.
I'm really happy that you said that, because that's one of the skills I came up with. So I was like, that would be so awesome to do it. It just feels like I want to do it. And so I went to our programmer teams and I'm like, hey guys, can we make it happen?
Can we drop kick zombies? I want to drop kick a zombie.
And then when they came up, when the animation team, they build it up and we finally could get our hands on it. It's like, oh yes, it feels so good.
Brilliant. So I love being able to drop kick zombies, whether it's into a wall, a spike,
or off the roof, or whatever.
Electrified fences. It feels great. But there's one
you can do it in the demo.
Yeah, I did that. I did it. Yeah, because that was one of the first things I did. I found a lone zombie next to some wall spikes and just drop kick him into the spikes, and he's just there going, oh. No, sorry, just for bash. Killed you. It's great. But as soon as I felt being able to drop kick a zombie, there's one thing that popped into my head. As well as being a zombie fan, huge wrestling fan, I've got to ask, in Dying Light anywhere, even if it's an ability you can unlock later on, whether you've been in dire combat and you've drop kicked so many zombies or something, am I able to suplex a zombie? Can I pile driver a zombie? I know it's a hard question.
I'm afraid you don't. Sorry.
DLC.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? You might be open for new stuff. There's plenty of really wicked abilities that you can do. But you know, with the zombies, the thing is, doing the pile drive, it really gets like you gotta get into context. You don't really want to do that with them.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So, you know, we call them biters for a real reason. You know, their basic behavior is not to hit you, but it's to grab you and to stop you, and immediately it takes away control from you. You're stuck and they're coming for you. So it's like, you want to get out of there. So all the abilities are aimed towards, you know, you keep your flow. You know, use their momentum, your momentum or theirs momentum.
So does that mean then
but there are plenty of cool stuff to do to them.
Does that mean like you could potentially unlock something later on where instead of doing a normal drop kick if you're standing still, if I'm running towards a guy, like run towards them, jump at them and then take them down to the floor? Or
for example, you can jump off of one guy and like death from above kind of style dive into another one.
So brilliant.
And depending on what kind of weapon, you're going to have a different effect. If it's like a blunt weapon, you're going to take the head to the floor and it's going to explode. While if you have like a sharp kind of thing, you can, you know, death from above and like stab him right in the heart.
Absolutely beautiful. That's fine. Like maybe one day we'll get wrestling. Like
I'm a huge fan of wrestling.
Who knows?
So like that's where the dropkick came from.
Yeah,
because I was like, that's totally we gotta have it.
Because maybe in the future there will be a zombie survivor. Heck, it might be Dying Light 2. Who knows? Where you'll be able to get a zombie into an armbar, whip their arm off, and then use that arm to smack them across the face. I can hope for the future.
We thought about these ideas a lot.
Of course. So one of the last things I've got to talk about, the traps. Traps are playing a really big role this time around. Like as I was saying earlier, spiked walls, electrified fences, and as I was walking around in the demo, because didn't happen much last year, but this year it's happening very much, where I'm just walking around the place, minding my own business, then a prompt comes up saying, press A to activate the trap. And I thought to myself, okay, see how this happens. I pressed A, I was on top of a building at this point. I pressed A and then this car alarm went off. And I was like, cool, so that distracts the zombies, surely. And then it just burst a surge of electricity and the closest ones nearby just got shocked and fell over. And I was like, that's brilliant. And I found one later on where like I activated the trap and then a siren went off like far away, so they were being driven off somewhere else. It was great. So what kind of variations on traps could we see in the game?
Before I get to that, let me tell you why do we have the traps in the first place?
Of course.
So that's something again that grew from the game as we played it. After we implemented the nighttime mechanics and you were being chased, we felt that, you know, once you get in trouble, it's really hard to get away. So we had to introduce some kind of a tool that lets you, you know, escape, kill whoever's chasing you, like give you a chance to survive. So that's where the idea for traps came in. So we start with something very, very simple, like a spiked wall that has a little opening in it. And here comes the abilities. You can either climb over it, which takes some time, or if you invest in an ability to slide, you can actually run full speed and then just dive under it.
Oh, brilliant.
So this way you keep your momentum, you just keep going, and whoever's chasing you just runs into the wall. Then we have the electrified gates, we have cars, and we have light traps. Now light traps are, they won't do anything during the day, they don't care.
Cool.
But when you're being chased at night, you know, having this really bright light flash put a lot of light in them. It blinds them. Some of them might get skin burns. This will give you like a second or two.
Yeah, like gives you an opening to make.
Yeah, exactly. To make that extra second to hide behind a corner.
That's great.
And survive.
That's really cool. Because I found the
and then sorry to interrupt you. It's just like stuff coming to my head.
That's absolutely fine.
There's there are also not like traps, but the environment itself. So for example, you might find there's a pool of gas that you can set on fire and bring them in, or a pool of water and electricity really nearby,
cool.
or like I don't know, a gas tank or an explosive barrel somewhere that you can lure them into and then explode it.
No, that's brilliant.
Or just use the rooftops. There's an ability that you can. There's an ability that you can unlock. It requires it requires some skill and good timing. But you can actually grab zombies before they grab you.
Yeah.
And for example, throw them
straight.
Yeah, throw them off the roof.
Off the roof. Ooh, yes.
So it's actually in the demo.
Oh yeah.
You gotta try this one.
I'm gonna have to.
So you can use the height advantage, whatever you have in the environment, to use it to your for your advantage.
That's fantastic. The last thing about traps, a lot of them are emphasised around the environment, which is fantastic. Because when you're walking around, you can make dynamic choices, and as you said, keeps the flow going. Are you able to make your own mini traps?
What do you mean by that?
Or like booby traps. So like, for example, being able to pack something in your backpack which allows you to put something down with like a flare in it to get zombies' attention, and then when either after a certain amount of time, or you have a remote detonator for example, set it off and let them go boom.
Now what you could do, the infected are attracted to noise. So what you could do, you could make some noise around a certain place, like I don't know, start banging on a wall, or make some really big noise, like shoot in the air, or explode something, and they're gonna come to it. And then from a distance, you can throw a bomb into that. So you can
that's cool.
You can work this way around.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically everything I have. Dying Light looks amazing. It plays amazing. I'm probably going to play it again because I friggin' love it. It's coming out
January 30th.
January 30th next year. PC, PS3, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360.
Exactly.
All the consoles you can think of. It looks great. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Be sure to subscribe for some more stuff, guys. We're here live at EGX, by the way, and it's super good. Be sure to look out for some more EGX themed videos, and I'll be seeing you guys on the other side. Have a good one, guys. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the interview with the game designer of Dying Light. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for the quality of the audio there. It got a little bit fuzzy, but when you're at EGX, that is the best you can really try and get, especially with the equipment that I had on me. I hope to get some more interviews in the future, but until next time, folks, here are some annotations on screen taking you to the EGX playlist, the playlist of our current series, Dark Souls 2 The Naked Soul Run, as well as a link to our channel for you to check out anything and everything that we have to offer. Until next time, guys, I'm Don the Expert of Coles from VideoGamesUncovered.com, and I'll be seeing you on the other side.